Notice is hereby given that this is a public hearing on the 2023-2024 fiscal year budget and regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, being held today, Thursday, September 14th, 2023 at 6:30 PM at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, where a quorum of the City Council is present. All agenda items are subject to action. Please join at the meeting link provided in the agenda. The public will be permitted to offer public comments as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the city secretary in person at least 15 minutes in advance of the meeting, or by emailing or calling the city secretary at cityclerk@cityofsandyoaks.com or 210-607-0834 at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting. Please indicate whether you intend to speak during the public hearing portion of the meeting regarding the 2023-2024 fiscal year budget, or during the citizens to be heard portion of the regular meeting regarding another item on the agenda. Written comments received at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting have been provided to the city council for consideration. It is now 6:34 PM. Madam Secretary, may I have a call to order?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado. Here. Alderwoman Martinez. Here. Alderman Rapino.
Here.
Alderman Coffindaffer.
Here.
Alderman Fillinger.
Here.
We have our city secretary and attorney. You have a quorum.
Thank you. May you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's see. Citizens to be heard. Do we have anybody signed up?
You just have the budget portion.
You just spoke doing budget.
I'm not doing anything.
Oh,
Okay.
just the budget portions.
Okay. All right, so then do we hold those off for the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So if it's just for the budget, we're going to skip for the citizens to be heard. All right, so a public hearing on the 2024 fiscal year budget. This budget will raise more total property taxes than last year's budget by $65,392.41, which is a 13% increase from last year's budget. And of that amount, $25,618.06 is tax revenue to be raised from new property added to the tax roll this year. This time is provided for citizens to address the mayor and council on the proposed budget. Please limit your time to a period not to exceed 3 minutes. The time is now 6:36 PM. The city council will now conduct a public hearing to receive public comment on the city of Sandy Oaks proposed annual budget for fiscal year 2023-2024. Let's see here. Okay,
Are we going to see the budget? I mean, it's hard for us to address it if we're not seeing what you have in the proposed budget.
yeah, it was posted online. I can certainly give you my copy. Yeah.
And I mean, and pretty much just a quick look, and I'm not sure what's being allotted for animal control. But looking at what the mission is, the amount of work involved, I don't think, first up, I don't think the pay rate for the animal control officer is adequate. And I see people discussing on next door, people that on farm animals. I just don't understand how the animal control officer can take time away from controlling dogs. And I don't spend any time with cats, but dogs in itself is a very demanding. People are always complaining about dogs. So I think more so just the
Page 3 too, if you want.
excuse me.
It's page 3, if you want to look. It's like middle of the page.
Facilities, equipment, and supplies, fuel, salaries. So. Is it just for animal control, 35,000 for the salaries?
Correct.
So are you looking to add more people in animal control, or that's just for one person, because that is the individual we have now is part-time?
Yep.
So is that gonna be converted to full-time
Eventually.
eventually?
Yep.
So at this point, if it's the 35,000, that's probably a good number. Not sure about the equipment and supplies, and I mean, just for the housing, if the kennels stay full, you gotta feed them, you gotta bathe them. You gotta clean the kennels, it's just a lot involved.
Yeah. Are we allowed to respond back? I'm just,
When the discussion.
okay. Gotcha. Okay, I just don't want you to
That's
think. of
my
anything.
major one, and then the other would probably be public works. There could probably, I'm not sure, let me look for that.
Public Works is right behind it.
Right
Next
behind
page. Yes, sir.
Right now. you're just-
Okay.
but
Okay. Gotcha.
Fuels and literally maybe 5,000 isn't a whole lot for parks and grounds and for the public works. 5,000 really doesn't go very far unless there's no other new projects that are gonna be addressed. The salaries they look at the street. So is the all of the funds, and I know this gets away from the budget, but all of the money that was allocated during the pandemic. All those funds have already been depleted, or are they still being used?
You're referring to ARPA?
Yeah.
Okay, we can discuss that when we go back to the
Is that
discussion.
included in here anywhere?
No.
Utilizing those funds? Okay.
So right now, because we are approaching the time limit, right, we do have a question on public, animal control,
Animal control.
possibly adding more people, and then ARPA injected into public works. But those are the main questions, right?
Right.
Okay. Anybody else that we have to speak? Okay. All right, do we go ahead and close in the public hearing?
Into the public input.
The public input portion. Okay. So we'll go ahead and close the public input portion, and we'll go ahead and bring it on to discussion. So do I need a list of time?
Save the time.
It's 6:41. We'll go ahead and close the public input and move on to discussion. So to answer your questions, I mean, it's not unreasonable, right, to ask for more people for animal control. I think with the way we're positioning it now, we're heavily on adoption, right? We're trying to move animals out as quick as possible. Luckily, we have some good resources that have allowed us to be as efficient as we can be with one person. But to your second point, right, with larger animals being brought into the city, that would require a heavier workload, right, for that person.
Can I address that, sir?
Sure.
Working with the people and what we're proposing will pretty well be a self-funded operation due to licensing fees and permit fees. And we're discussing expanding who does inspections of the livestock. And I would be glad to go over all that with you after the meeting.
Can I respond?
Is that, no, right? Yeah, very short.
Just if that, I'm just wondering, is that what's being considered in with the $35,000?
No,
No,
I can't do that.
It hadn't, it's not a done deal yet anyhow.
Right.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
we're still discussing with citizens and preparing the proposed amendments.
And then moving on to the next item that you brought up, ARPA. So I mean, yeah, I mean, it probably would be beneficial to do a little bit more planning with ARPA inside Public Works. But also we're trying to be conservative with it, right? Like there aren't no, in my opinion, there aren't many major projects that would need ARPA injection into the park. That doesn't mean that it can't happen or it won't happen. The input that we receive from citizens is very limited, but we're not hearing much buzz, right, from the community about what they want in the park. So any kind of projects that would require significant capital, it's not on the table, or it's not on our horizon right now. So I would say that's probably why ARPA is not as high as or injected into the budget at this point. And then I know you brought up, I did want to bring up one issue with streets maintenance. The reality is that, a fiscal budget is not gonna have enough money to, it was not brought up by you, but by somebody else, but the fiscal year budget's not gonna have ever enough money inside street maintenance. That's something a whole lot bigger than what our normal budget can sustain. That's usually found around bonds and grants and things like that. So I just wanted to address that because I know that was a comment made by other people, is why are we continually underfunding the street maintenance program? And it's because we just don't have the capital for that. So yeah, that's kind of my take. Any other discussion from the other council members? And again, I know we're still gonna discuss it, so. But to any of those points. Okay, well,
Person right near the parks. Because we've already done it once at the community portion.
mhm,
That would fall under the parks again. If we add more funds to that for this company. So we could do it because this last year when we done it. A lot of people don't know it, but it was at absolutely no expense to the city. It was done through favors and personal funds. The city didn't pay for it.
well, we can talk through that when we get to the actual budget. So,
There was.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so if there's no more public input, we don't have any more questions. We can go ahead and conclude the public part of the budget hearing at 6:46 p.m. This concludes the public part of the budget hearing as required by state law at 6:46 p.m. And we're now going to item 4A to discuss the budget and may either vote on adopting the budget or postpone the adoption of the budget for another day. All right, so again, 4A, discuss enter possible action on ordinance 2023-2024, 224, adopting the proposed 2023 through 2024 fiscal year budget for the city of Sandy Oaks. So going back to your question, I do believe we could incorporate some of the budget from the park and city grounds projects into the car show. I'd like to spread it out a little thinner, not take the whole thing, but in my mind, that's where I think.
Is the car show not a private event? When did the city adopt the car show as a city event?
I don't think it's a private event.
I'd like to address that.
Sure.
It is a private event because council never
Uh,
spoke,
Never.
discussed, or approved it.
We never adopted. it.
The Alderman Coppendaffer did talk with the Parks Committee at times. And to avoid a walking quorum, I was not privy to those meetings.
Mhm.
But other events at the park, have had city council approval. We have budgeted for, events, games and so forth and so on, and so far as I have seen, the ladies have done a real good job of meeting that budget. So if we're gonna talk car show, and this is not the proper venue to talk car show, we need to discuss that in a council meeting, versus,
During the budget.
de facto, it becomes an event and has never been approved at all. And if we're speaking of city funds, then obviously we need to discuss it in council.
Sure.
But that's my take.
With what Alderman Fillinger's saying, he's absolutely right. I think it would have been considered as a private event, the first one for the city. We do have to discuss it as a city council. And yes, we did have different members of the council aware of what was going on, but we never did vote on it.
Yeah.
But also, since we're talking the budget, it has to be clear that right now the city is not. How do we?
Funding it.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I believe the city ought to make a move towards funding them and making it part of the community event. And having the funds set aside. Whereas if it's not done, the funds are still gonna be used.
Yeah.
By one department or the other.
Well, you can
So that
always,
way we can
Yeah,
have that
I'm-
conversation.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. What they bring brought up to council to make it an official event, or at least a discussion of it. So,
Correct.
okay. I'm okay with that idea going forward. And we'll have to make an amendment.
you may go. I think, bring before we. Human making mention.
Yeah, if you and Tom want to get together and send it to me, then we'll put it as an official agenda item on a future meeting.
That will do.
Any questions on the budget, guys? The one amendment that I do need to make based off of information that we've received recently is we need to add an additional 300,000 income and expense for the Red Mountain project for the repavement of the street that
We have those funds.
yeah, we have those funds. It's not included in here. So it's just a credit and a debit. So since we just recently got that award, it needs to be added into it.
Right, and I believe we approved a copay into that project
Yeah, and that's included in my numbers.
in the 300.
Yeah, the extra, the co-payment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me, as our city treasurer, for the Red Mountain CDGP project, will we set up a separate bank account, or we try to operate it through the general fund?
I haven't thought of it. No, I think-
What wasn't,
Because the CDGP process is gonna be the same as the one we went through with TDA.
Mhm.
Except we won't have Grant Works driving it, we'll have Bear County driving. But-
Exactly.
But the process of payment is gonna be the same. So,
Probably set up stuff.
let's set up a separate
Yeah.
to start off.
I,
Before we start
yeah,
clean.
I would suggest we do not put that program into the general budget.
Okay.
And handle it just like we did the TDA project with separate bank account, separate reporting.
Okay.
We can have separate accounts, but have one budget too, can't you?
That,
Can't you have one budget but separate bank account? So that way you see what's coming and going in one budget.
well, we,
Are you gonna have a budget for?
I-
You're-
I mean, it's just a two line item. Budget, 300 in, 300 out.
whatever you say, I just, we,
It could be a separate bank account, but
Yeah.
it's easier to manage in one budget versus numerous budgets.
whatever you say. Yeah,
But yes, I'm good. I
That's-
would prefer a bank account, but a separate
Separate
line item.
separate bank account, but in the general fund.
As a different, yeah, as a line item dedicated to that.
Okay,
So you need.
So when I give my financial report, it would be a separate bank
You
account
got
report,
motions.
but it would reflect in the actual. budget.
Yeah,
okay. Then we need a separate line item under income
And
and
expense.
and
a
expense,
separate line item under expenses.
correct.
Like under reserve funding. And be strictly reserve,
Excuse me?
under reserve funding, we could put the line item for the expense. Find out. If it's reserved for that. Project.
Okay.
So it has to be revised.
Yeah, that's fine. Any other questions on line items?
Got a question about equipment repairs and replacement.
Can I ask a question off this first? Do we need to do these individual motions or all of them?
All the amendments would be individual motions. I didn't know if the mayor was, if this was a discussion or if
Oh,
we're
okay.
taking.
I didn't know if you wanted a motion to add that before we go any further, or
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's get a motion to make a $300,000 addition to income and expenses. So if somebody wants to lead that off.
Okay. I have no problem talking, as you know. I move that we add a line item under income. For the Red Mountain. CDG project. $350,000. Excuse me.
I was confirming you said 350.
Yes, ma'am. And that we add a line item for expenditures under reserve funding, also titled Red Mountain CDG project expenses.
Why 350? If I can ask,
Isn't that the number you gave?
300,
Said 300.
300.
But we said 350, but
The match is already included in the numbers, in the ARPA part.
okay.
Yeah.
Then I retract my motion. And I move that we add a line item under income, Red Mountain. CDGD project, 300,000. And a line item under. Reserve funding for Red Mountain CDGD project. Expenses of 300,000.
Yeah, second.
Okay, so I have a motion to add a line item of 300,000 for the Red Mountain CDBG project under revenue or income. And a $300,000 line item for Red Mountain CDBG project under expenditures under reserve funding. I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Rapino. All of those in favor, well, we gotta go one by one, right? Or no?
Not for this.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. Okay,
Okay, sir, do we need to also amend the gross profit in the budget? With like $300,000.
I don't think it would change, right? If it's a debit and a credit, they're offsetting?
Just the
Income
profit.
expenses, two different items, sir.
No.
It doesn't affect the bottom line, but
I gotcha. I see what you're saying. Yep. Do we need to make a motion to change that? I mean, it would just fill in,
If we need to do the math, it would all fill in,
right?
but if the line item is gonna be corrected, you just.
So instead of 1872, it would be, 2172. Right. I mean, if that's, yeah, if you want to do that, that's fine.
Is that what you came?
2172, 333.46.
Well, I think proper to do it, we need to do that. I move that we adjust the gross profit from $1,872,333.46 to $2,172,333.46.
You gonna do that to expenses as well in the same motion, or does that have to be separate?
Uh,
We change, moving it up to 2275.
yeah. Okay. And additionally, I move that we adjust the total expenses to $2,275,000.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. All right, so I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Rapino to increase our gross profit to 2,172,033, $2,172,333.46. And our total expenses to $2,275,000. All of those in favor say aye.
Right?
All those opposed. That's unanimous. Thank you. Any other line items to talk through?
Yeah, question on page 2, municipal buildings. Third line down, park/community center expenditures.
Mhm.
Is this our parties,
Yes, sir.
games and all of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The line above it would be like your general maintenance if it needed an AC repair. Same thing for the municipal building,
Right.
AC repairs, major damage, things like that.
What I was gonna ask you about was that I didn't see anything about new equipment for the police department, DPW or in control. So for this year, are we planning on? It's like we just recently purchased we're working on receiving the answer to the pickup truck.
Mhm.
So we're not looking at replacing the truck. We're not looking at adding more vehicles this year as we did last year.
Correct.
Okay, so that explains why our numbers are where they're at for that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, you're not gonna see a lot of individual line items. I mean, we could if we had,
Well, I was just looking at the amount of money that was there for.
Yeah.
Because I believe for maintenance and equipment, one said 10,000, another one was 15,000. For like DPW, that tells me, okay, we're not looking at,
major equipment purchases.
correct, this
Yeah.
year, we're not looking at trying to get major equipment purchase this year.
Correct.
Okay.
I do have one comment about the healthcare.
Mhm.
I did receive notification from TML Health Benefits. And our premiums went up by 68%.
What page is this? I'm sorry.
Let's see.
Well, I guess it's on everybody's, right?
Oh, it's a big, yeah.
Yeah.
Page 3, under other types of expenses, insurance.
Under employee benefits and healthcare? Right,
Yes,
okay.
well. Yeah, yes, under that.
Trying to recall how. I mean, obviously, this is mostly actuals from this year. How long has that increase been in place? Is it just starting or
It's
is it
gonna start in the new year,
in the new fiscal year or the new 2024?
new calendar. year.
Okay, new calendar year. Okay.
Let's delay amendment on that until we actually get an invoice.
Okay.
We can address.
We can address the
if it's a
budget.
Calendar year, let's address it as first of the year.
Okay.
We can amend the budget to meet the needs.
Okay.
Because we already went over budget this week.
Yeah, and I think if we did go over budget, this should be baked into it, right? So.
If there's no additional questions or discussion. I guess the only thing to discuss is, do we want to adopt this at this meeting or at the next meeting? Having gone through this last year, I believe adopting earlier is better, so I would move that we adopt the proposed annual budget as amended.
But I do have some legal
Ma'am.
legal items that need to go on the budget before you adopt
Okay.
it. One, the estimated tax rate required to cover the budget. So that was the,
2433.
yes,
I don't think we've got it out of order. We need to do the ordinance and ratification.
well, it would still go on the budget itself, and then it would be ratified at another time. And then any funds from all sources for the last fiscal year, which Catherine, you may have as part of the financial report,
Yeah,
that would need to go on this budget, and any just outstanding obligations to the city is what also needs to go on here. So it's like the debt,
Yeah, the 67, yeah,
is that on the budget?
yeah, it's in the budget. The road bond, that's the only one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so with those added to the budget, then if y'all are ready to adopt it.
What do you mean added the rate?
So a motion to
Okay.
add the estimated tax rate required to cover the budget of 0.24.
2.4, yeah, okay. I have it right here. All right, so basically what she's saying is we need a motion to basically add the tax rate of point. $243303 to the budget.
Okay, then let me ask,
No, okay, so 2433.
before we address that, should we adopt the amendments into this, correct? The word talking about the amended budget when we fill in the blank.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, this budget's not approved here. Why do we have to have an adoption to write the tax rate on it?
It's a part of the statute. It says what must go on the budget when it's adopted, and it has to have the estimated tax rate.
I understand that, but that's just it. We haven't adopted this yet, so it needs to be fixed before we can.
Before you actually adopt the budget, because it's a part of the budget.
So all I'm hearing right now is that it's incomplete, so we cannot adopt it. 'Cause
As,
We gotta show,
but you can make the additional amendments to include it as part of the budget, because that is the tax rate that the mayor used to calculate this budget. So it just needs to go on the budget. The budget may be adopted, and then the tax is ratified, and then the actual tax rate is adopted.
about the expenses from last year, any outstanding expenses and any overages from last year.
That would
Yes.
go on this budget, as well as any funds received from last year.
So all of that would take more amendments when it could all just be wrote up and done one time.
Yes, but it would still come back to council. The council would need to approve those amendments because they aren't on this tonight. So they would still be.
Being though, is if the mayor pulls this right now, goes and retypes it, brings it back.
No, we're not gonna do that.
Then we pass it with one show instead of having to do multiple amendments on it.
You would still need to make the multiple amendments.
Yeah, we're gonna make the multiple amendments and then I'll go back and rewrite it.
Okay.
That you can make the amendments and adopt it at the next meeting, or you can make the amendments and adopt it tonight.
Make a motion that you make an amendment to add the tax rate that Mayor Martinez used to calculate our budget,
2, 4, 3, 3, whatever.
correct? And add that to,
That's the only one.
Is that needs?
Yeah, because it does have the carryover funds. Now granted, this is an estimate,
Mhm.
but it does have carryover funds listed at the top.
Okay, second.
Yes, and that's, it'll be an estimate till
Yeah.
October first.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
We have to run with that number.
All right, so I have a motion from Alderman Coffindaffer and a second from Alderman Rapino to add the voter approval rate of 0.243303 to the current budget. 0.243303. Got it? All right. All those in favor say aye.
aye,
Right?
All those opposed? That passes unanimously. Okay. Let's see here.
what else are we missing?
Any funds received during last year from all sources, so ad valorem taxes, bond. Or bond funds, if there were any received last year, I think that was the previous year. Franchise fees. Court fees, those, any income from last year. So that could be taken from the current year's budget.
We have over funds from this year?
Not-
No, totally income.
Until the end of the year.
Money received.
Oh, so what's already stated in the budget? Is that?
In this, current fiscal year's budget,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. At best guess it's gonna be an estimate, but. With a
All of this can be avoided if we adopt the budget next meeting, I mean, like.
Well, we still have to fill in
To
the
go
blank
through it.
at the next meeting. We're still not gonna have end of the year numbers, but we
Yeah.
could have a much closer estimation if you prepare it up to date as of the next
Mhm.
meeting.
Yeah.
Or we could just take a guess that we're gonna add another whatever. I mean, I don't know how we're supposed to come up with the numbers before the fact,
Yeah,
but we have to adopt the budget before
For
the
the
fact.
fact. So we might as well just go ahead and adopt it and then. Then amend when we have to, you know. So let's go do it.
Okay, I moved that we delay adopting the budget until our next business meeting. So we have a more up-to-date financial report to give us a final number.
that's a motion to move to September 28th.
I'll second.
All right, so I have a motion by Alderman Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to move to delay the adoption of the budget 2023-2024 to our next business meeting, which is September 28th. All of those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
Every year, just to
That's unanimous.
frustrate us.
Okay. I will go ahead and make some updates to the budget. I'll work with Catherine to get all that in here. And we will move on to then item B, discuss under possible action on ordinance 2023-225, ratifying the property tax increase reflected in the 2023-2024 fiscal year budget. Which will. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and postpone that to the next meeting because they work hand in hand. Okay. Moving on to agenda item 5, mayor administrator announcements. I don't really have any announcements. So we can go ahead and just move on past that one. All right, consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Please take a moment to review your consent agenda.
Why they emailed to us.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Right, so I have a motion from Alderman Coffindaffer and a second from Alderman Fillinger to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Approved, sir.
Approved.
Approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, let's move on to agenda item 7, financial report. Income and expenses for 2023 were reported by the city secretary, Ms. Catherine Yelton, with possible discussion and action. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Thanks, sir. So the two bank accounts that I'd reconciled that had any difference was just the ARPA and the general fund. So as of August 1st, 2023, the general fund had a balance of $221,806.42. Checks and payments of $103,380.55. Deposits and credits of $85,302.44, leaving an ending balance as of August 31st, 2023 of $203,728.31. The ARPA fund had a change in it. There was a deposit, so the beginning balance as of August 1st was $539,781.28. $9,500 was deposited into that, which should have gone to the TDA account. I don't know why they can't get it straight. I have since moved it, but it was after September 1st when I moved it, so as of August 31st, the ARPA fund balance was $549,281.28. And then the rest is just details of the budget as well as the budget versus actual comparison on pages 10 and 11 and 12.
There's no questions. I move to approve the financial report.
Let's look at
Yeah, I lost my paper. All right, there are no further questions. We have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderwoman Alvarado to accept the financial report as presented. All of those in favor say aye. All those opposed. That's unanimous. Thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item 8A, discuss any possible action on the work order from the city engineer related to, we're gonna pull this one for now. We're still working with that one. I need to keep it in there though, just as a reminder that we're keep following up with him. All right. Yeah, all right, moving on, discuss under possible action. On resolution 2023-183, rescheduling the public hearing on the tax rate for 2023 and date of adoption of tax rate. Do we need to do that one?
Yes, we do need to do that.
Okay.
We do need to listen?
Yes, to reschedule the tax rate public hearing.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're gonna, so really it would be rescheduled to 9/28.
Yes.
Okay. So we just need a motion to reschedule to 9/28, guys.
I'll make a motion, we reschedule that until September 28th, 2023.
I'll second.
Okay, I got a motion from Alderman Coffendaffer and a second from Alderwoman Martinez to rescheduling the public hearing on the tax rate for 2023 and date of the adoption of the tax rate to September 28th.
Approve the resolution.
Oh, to approve the resolution number 2023-183. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, thank you. Moving right along. Discuss under possible action on the final invoice for the Texas CDBG drainage improvement project number CDB 21-0020 and related matters. That is. There we go.
You want me to do- you want me to have it?
I probably got out of order. You said 9B?
9B.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just out of order. Give me a second. Yeah, okay, I'll just look it down. All right, so as you can see, we were presented a invoice for $100,819.80. We're good, you're fine. Okay. Me and our Public Works Director, the engineer in charge of the project, and the project manager from C3 Engineering, C3 Environmental Specialties, did walk through, did make some recommendations, did get some clarification on some properties, addressed a lot of the concern, all the concerns of the constituents in the area and from some of the council members. And basically, I mean, they agreed that they were not done yet, so that's the biggest thing. And that they're still working through the project. They're gonna finalize it. They need to go add in vegetation and things like that. But they are seeking, I wouldn't call this final payment, because there's still some left. But they have been there for quite a while. They have been working and they have not received any payment. So I think the invoice presented seems routine and fair for the amount of time they spent there.
Okay, so this is a.
Okay.
Final.
And we,
We'll check that.
and we dealt with grant work on this, I know.
Oh.
As far as DEA sending us,
Yes, as
They ha-
the invoices, the money through grant works, the money is requested from PDA and then deposited.
okay. So that leaves us carrying the bucket to approve this payment.
Well-
Until we're reimbursing to you.
I don't think so. I think what's gonna happen, and the way I envision it, is that they got us this invoice. We're going to approve it, and then they need to run through GrantWorks. Because the idea is not for us to front this.
Okay,
So I just wanted, once it comes through and it gets paid out, we're good to go. We're good to cut the check. Because I also want to reduce the number of days that they're having to wait for their money. Because they haven't received one payment.
okay. Okay, any other questions? If there's no further discussion, I move that we approve this invoice and authorize Mayor Martinez to, approve payment and move forward with this.
That's right.
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderwoman Alvarado to approve payment and to press the accept button once the funds are deposited into the city of Sandy Oaks. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, updates and announcements from Chief Lopez with possible discussion and action. Chief, you have the floor.
Good evening, council. One of our new hired officers, Officer Contest, in his last month of school training. Everything was going well, so hopefully in the next month, so we should be releasing beyond zone.
That's it. All right, thank you, sir. Moving on, line item B, presentation of monthly report by Chief Lopez. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Council, for the month of August, that we're looking at starting at the top, for 4 defendants, we had 121 individuals. For that, cases, we had 230 cases. Traffic stops, there's 167 traffic stops. 172 citations were given, 75 liens, also. Calls for services for myself was 11, Corporal had 14, Officer Maldonado had 21. And then Officer Casas had 19. We arrested 11 individuals for the month. We had 1 assist other agency, 3 calls for assist other law enforcement agency, 3 calls for Bexar County Fire. Moving down to 1 call for alarm residents, 1 animal bite, 3 calls for service for animal loose dog, 1 call for service for civil matter keep the peace. 2 civil matters, 2 crash, no injuries, 1 citation for city ordinance violation for trash and garbage, 6 citations issued for junk vehicles, 4 citations were issued for home skirtings, 2 citations were issued for illegal burning, violations for dogs and livestock. I believe 18 citations were given for dogs. And then 3 citations for animal livestock. 1 call for service for damaged property, 1 disturbance family, 1 disturbance verbal, 1 harassment verbal telephone, 1 information call, 2 narcotics laws. And then we had 3 recovered stolen vehicles, 1 road rage incidents, 3 suspicious vehicle calls, 1 theft, 1 threats. 1 traffic violation, 2 welfare checks, and 1 total vehicle. And looking at the individuals that we had that were arrested for the month of August, we had 9 residents that were arrested, 2 non-residents, 6 SAPD traffic warrants, arrestees, 3 county warrants, 2 out of county warrants, and 1 arrest for unlawful carry of agency as well. So August was a very productive month.
It's one of the hottest temperature and criminal wise. Traffic violations, it says 1. So somebody called in that they somebody ran a red light.
No, I believe that was it was more of a shouldn't be driving and got the vehicle towed. It was
Gotcha.
keep in mind.
Gotcha. Okay. Any questions? All right, thank you, sir. All right, discuss.
I would like to. If I'm remembering correctly, most of our the arrests here in the past few months have been non-resident. And I see we have a lot of resident arrests this month. Is that just a bad month or? better enforcement or more people on the street?
Honestly, it is just,
Serendipity.
Okay.
They're not hiding anymore, they're all warrants.
When, okay. When we see like SAPD traffic warrant, is that normally you discover that during the course of a stop?
yes.
Okay, then our people ought to drive better.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
sir.
All right. Okay, discuss enter possible action on quotes received for the purchase of a Ford Police Interceptor. So, as you know, we do have some nice vehicles here for the city. One of the vehicles is what year is it?
Tahoe, I believe it's 2011 or 13.
Okay.
It was given to us by county.
Okay.
So
All right, so we have I think it's 2013 Chevrolet Tahoe. It's got a bunch of miles on it, it's got a bunch of hours. It was a donated vehicle. So it had its already fair share of wear and tear. Recently there have been some issues with it. AC issues, engine issues, and it's had to be repaired. And it's just, it's an older vehicle, it's hot outside, right? And these vehicles idle all day. So with that said, presenting the idea of, basically a new police vehicle, 2023 Ford Interceptor. This one shows a price of 49,000. However, that is reduced by 3,000 because we were able to take off the hybrid portion of it. And while I think it's a good idea for a fleet, I think for us as as a small municipality that can't really service its own vehicles, it just would create more downtime should that system have issues. So I just think the engine and transmission is the right way to go. But that being said, that's kind of the idea I'm presenting. I do have some payment plan options. Should we go to finance it, 3, 4, 5 years? My thought is not to do a cash purchase, but to actually incur a little bit of debt, just for the purpose of replacing a vehicle that's a bit outdated. Now, keep in mind, this is not the end of it. In a sense, it would need to be outfitted. And some of the items from the Tahoe would be retrofitted, but it will take, obviously new branding, the back seat has to be deleted and put that plastic seat. So just different things like that. So there you can expect more expense to come for this vehicle, but I at least wanted to present the idea that we look into a new vehicle.
Yeah, I'd like to delay any further discussion on this, but until we can have at least an estimate of outfitting costs. Because in the past, there's been some very unpleasant surprises there. I don't know what can move, what can't move, but I'd really like to see a better number. And
I'd like to see more quotes too, please, because this is only one vehicle that we're looking at.
Like, we have.
We're talking almost $50,000 on this city's expense. What about the other vehicle manufacturers out there that make patrol cars as well? Who would give us the best deal? Dodge has their little Dodge things running around here. They got their, all of those things called. They got the Dodge Durango and the Chargers running around. They already have those as patrol cars. Ford has a good Ford Interceptor that we're talking about here. I know Chevrolet's made them with their Impalas in the past. I don't know what they have today. But the fact is, there's more than one manufacturer, and I'd like to see more quotes.
Well, I think I've
As well
addressed
as-
this in the past, sir. If we exceed $10,000, we have to legally, we have to have 3 quotes
Good point, because it's only one,
on
so we have to pass on this.
equipment.
I mean, the one thing I have to stress, right, because I get it. But this is a Ford invoice, not a dealership invoice, right? So the fact that it came from Jordan Ford or Ansira Ford, that's just the dealership that we receive it of, because legally it has to be shipped there. It cannot just come directly to us. So
I understand.
I understand that.
and I'm not I understand the idea for the Chevrolet and the Dodge. I get
I'm
that part.
saying more,
But there can't be more Ford quotes. That's what I'm saying.
yeah, I understand we only get one Ford quote. I'm saying more quotes. There's other vehicles out.
Okay,
And again, I'm gonna state this at least one more time. $9,999.99. We are authorized to research it and make in our judgment the best purchase. $10,000 to $49.99.99. We have to have 3 bids of equivalent equipment. Over $50,000, we have to publish in our legal newspaper 4 competitive bids. That's the law, and I want to make sure every department head needs to understand we cannot deal with this. We have to postpone it. So I move we postpone until we have 3 bids.
okay.
I second his motion.
Got a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Coffindaffer to postpone. All those in favor say aye. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 11A. Presentation of monthly report by ACO Ashley Cunningham with possible discussion and or action. Ma'am, you have the floor.
So total for the month, we have 41. We had, the warnings, we have 8. We had 32 total strays, 4 of those were warnings, 3 were citations, 1 was a referral out, 3 were impounded, 1 was impounded with a citation, 9 were unable to locate. 4 were no violation observed. 5 of them were pending cases as of August 31st. And then 2 of those were resolved prior to contact. On the cruelty and neglect, we had 2 that were warnings to resolve what was going on, no food, no water, no shelter. We have 1 that was impounded for the cruelty neglect, and then we had 1 call that was a no violation observed. On the enforcement, we had 2 warnings, and we had 1 unable to locate, total of 3. And with the bite, we had 2 bites that were impounded, and then we have had calls for the other one.
How many animals do we have impounded now, man?
Currently, we have 7. One of those is a bite. It's a second occurrence.
Same.
He jumped the fence and bit a little girl.
So he's in there for observation?
Yes, sir. He also bit a lady across the street.
Is he vaccinated?
Yes, the lady had all his paperwork and vaccines.
Has the lady been cited?
Yes,
And is she scheduled to go to court?
yes, yeah.
And is she not getting that animal back?
Well, the one was the bit and 1 was a scratch on the second violation.
That
So-
doesn't matter.
That's still,
Yeah,
So-
it doesn't matter. They have to be impounded for 10 days.
Yeah, the dog is scheduled to be released
If
tomorrow.
if it's a second violation. I'm concerned. Yeah, and I believe we have the authority to. That dog has to be confined. Okay, if you jump the fence, then it needs to be a fence. And we have the authority to enforce that action.
The dogs is impounded now. It's scheduled to be released tomorrow. It's been contained for 10 days. Dog will not come back to the city.
Will not come back to the city.
That's correct.
That's my concern. Okay, thank you. You may notice I'm a little bit upset about this. Endlessly. Any dog that is in bite, scratch twice. I don't want them coming back in the city unless they're in a confined lot, kennel. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
My blood pressure is up.
Breathe,
Really.
breathe.
Do these numbers, these are as of August 31st. Okay.
How many dogs were rescued?
We had a total or.
For the month.
We had 4 for August.
4 dogs came in and
All the
left.
dogs that were impounded, that were strays that the owner did not come for, were all free.
Outside of San Diego.
Yes, they were, some of them were sent to Canada and then some of them were behind.
Wow, come on, cooler.
No, you
All right, any questions for Ms. Cunningham? You're free to leave. Thank you. Or stay. All right, moving on.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, and very thank you.
Appreciate it.
Very good.
Very responsive. She's trying.
Yeah, she does.
On the
good
record,
job.
she's trying.
Help me out.
All right, moving on to agenda item 12A, updated an announcement from Park Advisory Committee Chair Alderman Rapino with possible discussion and or action. Sir?
Okay, we had a meeting on the 5th of this month. The mayor attended, which was appreciated. We discussed budget items and what the ladies are doing in the community center, the heat. And they were going to change the date. They do the market days. And the next meeting will be on the 3rd of October. And so that's all I.
You realize that's National Night Out, right?
Oh, that's true. So we will change that to the 4th.
So that's a great transition for National Night Out.
Yeah.
And I bring it up for one reason.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a dunk booth. So,
I don't think we can talk about this. but it's-
no, you're part of the park committee. It's their event.
When are we getting our shirts?
in the city.
All right. Well, I let the cat out of the bag. We're moving on.
What happened to the shirts?
They're working on them. Yeah, they're coming.
We got the emails. Tom asked.
Moving on.
All right, and moving on. 13A, updates and announcements from Public Works Director Priscilla Smith with possible discussion and or action. Ma'am, no updates. So we can skip 13A, B, C, and D.
Well, it's gonna take too long to discuss what my guys do.
Yeah,
They work hard, man.
Yeah,
I
every day.
I've seen.
I see them out there.
They
Yep.
don't.
We know what they do.
I'm
We're
pretty
proud of them.
Yep.
You help me out.
All right. Moving on. Discuss it or possible action on quotes received for the purchase of a tractor. Ma'am, you have the floor once more.
I've looked at all these, man. If you won't get me right on, do you have a recommendation as to what tractor we should be looking at?
I do have a recommendation to answer your question, the very first one on this page. Massey Ferguson,
Yes, man.
I would recommend them. They've been in business, I believe, since 1930 or 1903. It's one of those. It is made in the United States.
Is there a service center near here that should it go down?
So the good thing.
Can I answer?
Sure.
Massey Ferguson puts the technician out in the field.
Okay.
Yeah,
We don't have to take it to the south.
No.
That answers another question down the road.
No, sir.
Mhm.
Nice try.
Farm boy, sir.
All right.
I've owned Massey. But
Uh,
that's all to the side.
Obviously, and is this the picture, like this is the actual picture that's on the top right
So,
corner?
this is not,
Okay.
it's kind of sort of similar to this, the picture is not the greatest, we are actually, this quote is for a 60 horsepower tractor with an actual cab with air conditioning and heating in it. And Massey Ferguson already has a radio installed in it, already comes with it. All the other ones don't have that, which that doesn't need to be on, in my opinion.
Yep.
But anyways, what's nice is the horsepower. I do like the fact that this tractor will later in the future be able to have it. It does come with it. I mean, you have to order it, you have to buy it, but it does have a backhoe attachment for this type of tractor.
So if we look at page 2, it's the unit on the far right. Yeah, so just flip the page. Yeah, I'm just saying it's
Oh,
this one
okay.
here. Yeah,
The
the
specification.
specifications,
Does the horsepower is,
60.
don't they go by 2600, 2800?
The 2600 listed on the first line is the RPM where the power is at.
So it doesn't come with any attachment, just the front loader? It comes with the bucket. The front loader, yeah. I hate to throw a wrench in it. Kubota, you have to purchase that component.
So all of them are coming with the
Are
bucket.
you familiar with the Yanmar? Yanmar tractors?
No.
They're making motors for, John Deere. And we just bought them. 2600. With the front loader, with I'm sorry, I missed the first part. I said, it's a Yanmar, it's a Yanmar, they make the motors for the, John Deere's. And we just purchased one. I can give you the people that, only because we only paid 26.5.
What was the horsepower on that?
I can give you that too. I know that it was 2600 because I was in the label
Yeah.
of the engine.
Is on the end.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Mhm.
I think that might how they label.
I can get that for you. It's just, that's a big difference.
Well, but again,
Yeah.
we can buy a compact tractor for this.
No. I mean, this is huge. I mean, yeah. I thought it was coming with the backhoe. That's why when I
I
saw
know
the
that's
picture, I
not
said, well, that's a good price with the backhoe.
But
But there's 30 acres of land that still needs.
the
yeah.
budget doesn't have it in it for
And
next year.
the tractor we
Show
currently
budgets.
have. It's tiny.
It's not the budget.
Yeah, I know.
Does-
I mean, even us,
I mean,
yeah.
we're working it. We're working this tractor,
Mhm.
but
The tractor we have is.
No, I understand
In
that.
my opinion. Would be a fine tractor for a mini ranch or mini farm. But day in, day out. Trying to maintain 29.5 center line miles of roads. And the 30-acre park. We're tearing it up and wearing it out and doing so quickly. So, we've outgrown the equipment that we have.
No, I agree. We need a new one and a bigger one. I was just.
can I also point out that
Uh-huh.
these quotes, gathering these quotes, is a lot of time.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to volunteer to gather quotes before a meeting
And,
instead of during the meeting and,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I hear you.
I mean, I'm not shooting it down, but this
Yeah.
is a lot of work for someone to together on all of these.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
if someone thinks
I've been
they
working
can
on these.
find
quotes.
something better.
Yeah, no, I
everything that's
understand.
here,
I'm
I've
not
been working on these quotes.
Okay.
I'm not
Hang-
saying.
hang on,
you
hang
do
on,
a
hang
Great
on.
job in finding them. Oh, I appreciate it. I'm just giving you more information. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't believe you're talking about Contractor. I think you're probably talking about
We
a
have one.
25 horsepower tractor in that price range.
Okay,
Just,
So in
yeah, I mean. Probably so. I mean,
I haven't.
I like this one, I mean.
Yeah, I haven't spent weeks and weeks of
On it.
research on this, but none of these prices are out of
And
line.
I know they're expensive, yes, I understand.
Well, here's the only problem I'm seeing with it.
Good.
I asked if this budget was set up for large purchases like this. We're talking monthly payments.
So we're
We
talking,
are talking this tractor right now,
We're
sir.
talking current year budget, sir,
Yes, for 1
not
year.
next year.
So next year, when we're spending $15,000 on tools and equipment for her department,
641.
it's gonna be all chewed up into the
We haven't
payments.
discussed how
Of a
we're gonna
tractor.
pay for it either.
I'm asking, that's what I'm.
Yeah,
wanting
yeah,
to know.
that's what I'm saying. Haven't got to that point. But I know exactly where you're going.
I wanna know how it's being paid for.
That's what we need to discuss.
That's why I'm asking.
You tell us, how do you want us to pay for it?
I don't.
Okay.
Because the way I'm looking at it, I know right now there's 3 people working in DPW. Yes, they do have one tractor that's running its keister to death because it's a mini tractor. We're looking at spending another $50,000 here on another larger tractor for one person to use. Why can't we just get another smaller tractor? That cuts it down to what, 15 acres per tractor now? You'd have 2 people out there mowing the lawn instead of 1. I'm looking at it a different way.
It's not just mowing. lawn.
I know, but I'm using that as an example. I know she's worked hard about getting the proposal. So my question is, how do we pay it?
thank you.
All right.
Of course.
Uh,
All right, go ahead, Charles.
We can buy 3 mini tractors and they're still not gonna do the job because they do not have the power to do so.
Then how do we pay for it?
I'm gonna make a way out of bounds order here, or we still have in excess of $400,000 in the ARPA fund. Okay.
And
And we actually need to discuss, do we want to do this? We make a recommendation and then let's discuss how we're gonna pay for it. Because if we decide, no, we're not gonna do this, then your point is entirely moot, sir.
If I'm gonna look at doing this, I'm not gonna say, yes, I am, or no, I'm not, until I know how I'm spending the money, where I'm getting the money from. That is part of my decision of whether or not I'd be willing to do this. But
Okay.
now that you bring up, okay, well, we got some money in the ARPA fund that we can use for this. Now I'm all on board, buy it. It's that easy. Cause I don't disagree with the need of the equipment,
Well, yes,
but when I have to look at money first, I have to ask these questions before I spend the money.
we do have net ordinary income sitting at $185,000. So if we did not want to use ARPA, we do have a little bit of it, money in the bank. So we have options.
Good, pay for it outright, cause I don't like payments.
nobody mentioned payments.
Yeah.
I just saw the payment options on.
And we do have the reserve investment.
Yeah.
Okay. When we're looking at the, Kubota. Yeah, and. It's, that almost feels like a 4-letter word coming out of my mouth. Again, we're talking just with the front end bucket. Okay. And the Coyote is also just with the front end bucket.
Looks like they're all with the Browning bucket, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The difference between Massey Ferguson and Kubota and Coyote,
Yep,
and especially Kubota, it's not a true 60. And neither is the Coyote. It's not a true 60 horsepower.
okay.
I mean, but it's 59 and a half, right? We're
Yeah.
splitting hairs there, but
Yeah, but theoretically, they're equivalent
equivalents.
pieces of equipment.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the Kubota, we're looking at $47,315.
$47.
46,230? Is that not, am I looking at this wrong?
Yes.
That's the base price, but it looks like they gave us a discount? Yeah. $12,000 discount. So total final sales price of 46,230?
Yes.
That's with all the implementations that you need?
No.
No, that's just the bucket.
Do we have a quote that has all the implementations that you need?
Yes.
Which one was it?
Sir,
On the next, we're not on that one yet.
Oh, okay.
sir, we can't begin to approach that unless we publish it
Yeah,
in
unless
the
we-
newspaper for it. That's it.
I don't know. I was hoping she said yes on one of them under $50,000 with all implementation. It's gonna be taken. It'd have been beautiful.
Yeah. That's fine, boy.
Can't find it for 50 grand. That's what I'm saying.
So we're actually looking at the maximum $1,100 more for the Kubota, or for the Massey versus Kubota. And the Coyote is actually the highest price of
Yep.
the three, right?
Correct. That's how I read it.
Okay. Based on my experience and I would recommend spending the extra, basically $1,100 for the Massey Ferguson versus the Kubota. I think it's I think it's the more responsible thing for us to do versus trying for the low price. I think this would be the better buy for the city. Yeah.
You said that the Coyote is also a 59.5, not a true 60.
Yeah, I think it's 57 actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
57. What are the attachments that one there's coming with?
Just the bucket, right?
Is it
Yeah.
still just a bucket?
All of them just come with the bucket.
All of them come with a bucket.
Okay. How hard is it later on to get the attachments for each one of these three?
Let's do the next agenda item, sir.
Gonna be on the-
But you mean like, just in general, just acquiring them?
Yeah,
It's just going down and ordering them?
that's what I
Yeah,
mean in the
so,
future.
like-
How much work is it gonna be to get, I've never heard of Coyote. So how much work would it be to get a Coyote implement? How much work is it to get a Massey Ferguson implement versus a Kubota?
When you exit,
I know how easy it is to get some of them.
when you exit off the
Coyote
road, it's
doesn't
right there on the
have
right hand
repair
side.
guys.
Their implements are there on the ground.
Mhm.
They're on the property.
I know
So if
later
you
on there's gonna
wanted
be
to
stuff
get a
that's-
shredder, you could go whatever company you're choosing.
All right.
those are there.
But, so they're attainable. Well, we'll just leave it at
Yes.
that, right? Okay. So then
And
back
in
to,
fact, you don't have to get a Quixote
Mhm.
shredder to match the tractor.
No,
Implements come
interchangeable.
by class
Mhm.
and so it's a separate purchasing. Sometimes a dealer can give you the best deal on this group of implements, but sometimes not.
Mhm.
So, you know, that's why we look at them as separate purchases. Sometimes the better buy is not the dealer's recommended equipment.
Right.
it's the Craigslist buy.
Yeah. Craigslist is great work. All that to the side, if nobody has any further discussion, I'd like to make a motion that we purchase the Massey Ferguson 60 horsepower tractor using ARPA funds and not to exceed $48,000.
I'll second that.
I don't remember your name.
Was he just?
Yeah, ours is-
That's what I wanted answers.
All right, so I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger to purchase the 60 horsepower Massey Ferguson tractor utilizing ARPA funds not to exceed, what did you say, 48,000?
Yes, sir.
With an NTE of 48,000. Seconded by Alderman Coffendeffer. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous. Ma'am, I expect to see that in less than 2 weeks. All right, moving on. Next item, agenda item C. Discuss enter possible action on quotes received for the purchase of tractor implements. And let's try to keep it in the lanes, guys. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Massey Ferguson has a couple of implements, Ewell, Kubota, Coyote, any of these. They have some equipment, some attachments that I would like to be able to purchase. A box blade would be one of the important ones. A grapple would definitely help with the vines that are in the trees that we can't seem to get to. And the shredder is gonna be a bigger shredder than the one that we currently have.
And that's on this first page, right? So we're just really looking at this first page now.
You mentioned Massey Ferguson, but we didn't have a quote here.
If this is.
It's from Tuttle.
this is-
It's the first page is Tuttle.
Tuttle, okay.
Yep.
Yes, sorry.
No,
All right, so a 3-point shredder, a mini bush grappler, a box blade. Can you explain the difference between a box blade and the 3-point shredder?
Okay.
Yes,
Go ahead.
are you being serious?
I'm being serious because
Okay.
there's constituents that want to
Okay.
know the difference.
So the box shredder, the box blade, excuse me. It has an attachment that goes to the back of the tractor and it would help smooth out uneven areas in the park.
Okay, so it's ground level.
Box blade is a rear mounted mini road grader type attachment.
Okay.
To level.
And the shredder's to cut grass.
Shredder to cut grass.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
I do have a question on this. The third function valve to operate the brush grapple,
Yes,
does that $1,750 include mounting and hoses?
that's what the 1750 is for.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we're not gonna pay any additional for the supply of return hose and the technician to come out here and assemble this, right?
No,
Okay.
Any questions
So this is an additional $8,615.
for attachments? Yes, sir.
I move we authorize the purchase of the 3-point shredder, the mini brush grapple, box blade and third function valve. Not to exceed $9,000 and again for ARPA funds.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger to purchase all 4 line items not to exceed $9,000 via ARPA funds from Tuttle Motor and Hardware, and a second from Alderwoman Martinez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Okay,
just for anyone.
come again.
I didn't hear all the names. I'm just making sure they were.
Oh, yeah, yeah. They were all.
Oh,
All right, moving on. Discuss and possible action on the quote received for the purchase of a Ford F-250. In your,
Well, that's being thrown aside right now is
okay,
why are we even discussing it? We have one quote for one F-250 4x4 coming up to about, what was it, 40,000 on there, I believe?
48,000.
Yeah, okay, so we need two more quotes minimum with that one, right?
Well, there are three. So this first one is by Jason Lay of I-10 West Bernie, so I guess the Ford and Bernie. Then
Comes forward.
there's another for
And Southway Ford.
Southway Ford. That's I-10 West, that's still the same one.
Well, they're all practically the same, and there are differences.
I think Bernie's asking a little bit more.
Yeah, I see that.
And the truck's not quite available.
Yeah, with any of these big trucks, they're
Red
yeah.
McCombs is the only one that is available right now. for pickup. Southway Ford, their quote is not, this is Bernie and Red McCombs. It is an F-250 4-door crew cab 4x4. It's a must have the 4x4, but it's
Yep.
gas because that diesel would put me way over.
No, you don't.
So the thing is with Red McCombs, I mean with Southway Ford, is that is not a 4-door, it's black. It's just a single cab F-250.
So really, we're looking at apples to oranges, right?
I tried to do the best that I
I
could
know.
to get them all to be the exact same. And it just put me over the 50,000. And I don't understand some of these Ford dealerships. I mean,
Yeah,
it's fleet departments that I've been dealing with. And Southway Ford is not, they don't have a fleet dealership.
Yeah.
Or fleet department.
Any other dealerships besides Ford?
I mean, we could look at Chevrolet, we could look at,
I know Chevy's got a hellacious fleet department that I work with on the east side. I don't know which Chevy it is, but.
I mean, if you want to spearhead that, we'd greatly appreciate it.
But I'm just asking.
Well, then, I mean, it's hard to make that recommendation, and
No, I'm asking questions.
yeah.
Department head.
Yeah.
No, I am not gonna go out and get the quotes and do my department head's jobs for them. We still haven't got the inventory list per department that we asked for, I believe almost a year ago now, so I mean. I'll leave that to you, Mr. Mayor.
I mean, I've asked you to help out, so if you say
I
no,
did.
then, no, I'm saying right now. I said,
Oh,
if you'd
now
like
you-
to spirit, if you'd
I
like
don't have
to,
the time.
I mean,
I work 12 to 24 hours in a day easily.
24 hours in a day, it's a DOT violation.
Not really, we're
Yeah,
exempt.
let's get back to business.
Anyways, let's get back to it. Okay, so the reality is that the vehicles are not comparable. So it's hard to make a decision. Considering one of them is I guess more of a personal vehicle, not personal, but it's more of a retail vehicle, and the other one you're showing is a commercial vehicle.
They're all commercial vehicles. Every single one of these quotes are commercial vehicles.
But then one of them puts you over the $50,000 mark, right?
And also just inventory. It puts me where they have had a recall on the 2023s. And that stops a lot of. But I already spoke to Red McCombs Ford and I called before I came to this meeting to make sure that that is in stock. It's not something I have to wait 6 months or 3 months. Yes, no.
they all are offering 3,000 for the expedition. What's
Yes, and
the
I'm
name of the
getting rid of the
expedition?
expedition because it is on its last leg.
So it'd be a trade-in.
And they're gonna trade we're gonna trade the expedition in. And that keeps me under the 50,000. So they're gonna give me 3,000. Red McCombs was gonna give me 2, but then he honored the one from Southway Ford. They gave me 3 for it.
The one that Red McCombs said that's a standard cab.
No, it's crew cab,
It is a crew cab.
yes.
And they do have that in stock, right?
It's right, I received the text message today from the sales guy. I had the meeting though, I don't know.
So is that the one you recommend?
I would recommend it because it's not something I'm having to wait for, it's there on the lot, it's waiting for me.
So the other part of it, the part of the question that I have is, I mean, if we have techs that come to the field, what do we need an F-250 for?
I can address that real quick, sir.
Go ahead.
I have done pickup truck, it's not rated to pull a 60 horsepower. Tractor,
What do we need to pull it for? If the techs come out, like you mentioned earlier,
because we have 29.5 miles of streets here. And it's kind of ridiculous that if we're mowing at the
park.
south end of right of ways, that we field drive our tractor from the city park out on Mathis Road. We have to deal with traffic on the road. And eventually, at some point in time, that thing will have to be transported. I'm just saying, but pulling that, even pulling our Coyote with a half-ton pickup truck is not really safe on the highway. We can get away with it here in town, but it's not safe on the highway at all.
I will say, and this is my personal reference, I see Bear County, I see Saws, I see CPS, all running tractors down Priest Road. So if they can do it in block traffic, I don't see why we can't. That's just my opinion on it.
It was $50,000.
I'm not opposed to the idea. I just think we've just spent $50,000 on a tractor. And do we now want to spend another $50,000 on a truck? Which then
Yes,
is,
I'll make a motion that we approve not to spend more than, what was that price on the McCollum you can go pick up?
45,815.
45.8. That we don't spend more than $46,000. And pick up that truck.
The red
and McCollum.
becomes,
That's my motion.
is for 49,
49 what? 49,000.
49, 3, 51, 65.
49,500.
Oh,
Because as quickly as we sit here and say we just spent $50,000 on the tractor, it wasn't that long ago. I was just practically chastised for asking where we're getting the money from. And then I was informed of $400,000 in ARPA funds, $183,000 in the general fund. So I'd say we can go ahead and spend this money for the ARPA fund. That's my motion.
can I get a second?
And
This is the truck she'll be able to go pick up immediately.
I'll second.
what dollar amount did you apply for?
He said 49,500, an NTE.
Okay. Well, we have a motion and I believe I heard Alderman or Alderwoman Martinez
Yes.
second that.
All right, so we have a motion from Alderman Coffindaffer and a second from Alderwoman Martinez.
I would like clarification on, did you, ARPA fund?
Yeah, he said
Yes, I
that.
did.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so again,
How much ARPA did we spend? 100 grand?
$100,000 right now.
100, we're
What do
doing
we have left?
300.
100,000.
So it's for
Dollars.
49 what?
I'll read it out right now.
Mhm.
All right, so we have a motion from Alderman Coffindaffer and a second from Alderwoman Martinez to approve a purchase of a F-250 with an NTE of $49,500 from Red McCombs Ford with an via ARPA funds. All those in favor, say aye.
All right,
All those opposed? That is unanimous. All right. So now that we have a truck, Discuss enter possible action on quotes received from the purchase of a trailer.
I would like to shorten this conversation for the trailer.
Mhm.
If y'all wanna give me y'all's opinion, I'm okay with it. There is a company here that I've gone to every single one of these 3 places to look at their trailers and the quality of them. And the one I would like to choose is Big Star. They have a trailer, a utility trailer that, is made of iron beam. It's got a storage box in the front, so if you have any straps or anything like that, you can store it in the front. But there's 2 different, trailers here. And I would like to purchase the one with the meg ramps, not the stand-up ramps. And still, again, I would choose Blue Star.
Which one is the Mega Ramps? I'm assuming is 8200.
Let me put my broken glasses on.
Yes.
86?
Oh, which page are you looking at? Well,
No, that's affordable trailers.
next page.
Yeah, I would agree that I don't want to deal with big techs.
Oh, 200, yeah.
And a bumper pool, I mean,
These are bumper pull.
we were talking about safety. Is a bumper pool, Charles the expert, okay for this type of vehicle?
I suspect, sir, that when we pick up that F-250, you're gonna find that it actually has a receiver hitch that's rated for.
Oh, yeah. No, I meant like gooseneck. Should that be the proper trailer? You don't think so?
No,
Yeah.
the 250 is gonna have a 12,000-pound tow rating, the trailer's gonna have 10,000-pound capacity. I'd put it on my 20-year-old Expedition on the receiver.
You just said you wouldn't drive with the F-150. You can't make that comment.
I said my Expedition.
I got you. I'm just giving you a hard time. And I
And
drive
I
an,
tow it right down the road 70 miles an hour.
and I have an F-250
But
as well,
I-
so I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
All right. Well, I mean, it's in front of you, so you've already spent 100 grand,
What's another 8?
Right.
but we do need a motion if we want to make any decisions.
So
So
we spent almost 110 grand. But I'd like to make one statement. Okay, these are all capital assets. We're not gonna be dealing with this in the next year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. These are 12 to 15-year assets. Okay, so, when we're talking about, oh, we spent, yes, we did, but we spent capital assets.
well, I need a motion, guys. So if y'all want to make any
Yeah.
decisions.
I
this is
move
this
that
time.
we provide the recommendation not to exceed $8,500 from Blue Star Trailer Supply.
From the general fund or ARPA?
I believe we should take that out of general fund.
Second.
Thank you.
All right, I got a motion from Alderman Coppin, from Alderman Fillinger.
Told you he ain't that good looking.
And a second from Alderman Rapino, to go ahead and purchase the trailer from Blue Star Trailer not to exceed $8,500 from the general fund. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Thank you. All right, moving on. Agenda item F, discuss possible action on paying off the remaining balance with the DLL Financial Solutions partner for the Coyote tractor in the amount of $93,3446. Apparently at one point it was discussed to pay off the balance after the next fiscal year. Then we've had a change of hands since then, and I think that got lost in the gaps. That's correct. My opinion is I don't see why, but I mean, it's up to discussion.
Well,
The time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Get the title.
Get the title.
We pay it off at 2286.25.
No, sir, 99,334.46. It would be a 400, what'd you say, $500 savings in interest?
I move we pay off the Coyote tractor. Not to exceed $10,000 from the general fund by September 22nd, 2023.
And you were seconding it, right?
Absolutely, pay that thing off. So he doesn't need the debt.
Coffindaffer. All right, I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Coffindaffer to pay off the Coyote tractor to the tune of 9,334.46 by September 22nd, 2023. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. All those opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, lastly, and that was from general fund, right?
Yeah.
You said, okay. All right, last item. Discuss under possible actions on quotes received from Dilmark Services for heating and cooling services and related matter. Ma'am, can you take this one? Explain just a little bit.
Yes. So Delmac came out and did an evaluation on all of our units here at this current building. And it's taken them a while to get me the findings. But basically, each page will tell you that what unit number it is. And what that unit's gonna cost to get it repaired or fixed or cleaned thoroughly. The first page is for unit number 1. The second is for unit 2 for $162.25.
So you're telling me that total bill is $740.75?
For unit 1.
It's 2002.
They say here in the description that when they first pulled up to do the original quote that was passed with Dilmac, it was froze over. It was iced over.
Yeah, so basically they're recommending the same service on all of them for the most part, right?
Yes, but a
It's
thorough cleaning.
right, replacing the capacitors, thorough cleanings, leak searches, clean the evaporator coils. Basically full-on maintenance and repair any faulty equipment that's on it.
I don't know, we are coming across a cold streak. It hasn't been 100 for 2 days now. Do we really need these ACs?
We're ready.
I move we approve the cleaning and repairs as recommended by Dilmac. Not to exceed $2,400 and authorize our public works director to supervise that work.
I'll second.
Okay, I got a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Rapino to authorize the repairs for our central air system to not to exceed $2,400 to Dilmac Heating and Air Conditioning. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes unanimously. Need
I
a vote,
move that we adjourn.
I second.
and we are adjourned at 8:21 PM.
We in favor.